billion people are living with mental health disorders, according to the World Health Organization. The agency says while many countries have bolstered their policies and programs, greater investment and action are needed to address the issue. Here in the Philippines, one company aims to help close the gap by making mental health care more accessible and culturally relevant. Let's get on point with Narra Health co-founders Karina and Tatiana Garcia. Karina and Tatiana, good to finally have you. Welcome to the show and congratulations. I hear you just launched Nara.
Yes, thank you so much for having us. It's really our honor to be here to talk about something we're so passionate and driven about. So
very
really
interesting to talk about this.
Thank you so much, Pinky.
Very, very welcome. So you had a launch very recently, and this is Narra Health. Did I get it right? It's Narra Health.
Yep.
Yes.
What is it all about?
Why don't you go ahead?
So, essentially, we are aiming to create a happier nation. That is our ambition. And to do so, we believe that mental health needs to be more accessible to people. Now, we know that we can't serve everyone in the country, right? But we're targeting the bottom of the pyramid. We believe that they're the ones who need our help the most. And so that's our mission, that's our purpose, to create a better world. People are happier by targeting their mental health.
What pushed you to do this, Karina?
So Tatiana and I have actually been living outside of the country for over 10 years. And while we were living abroad, a lot of problems started to come up. There was a lack of mental health support that was culturally relevant in our language, that understands like the unique things that we go through as Filipinos. And so that initially started it. We didn't know where to look for it. And so we had this unique problem that we wanted to solve. And then when you think about the actual OFWs, we're like, okay, for us, we didn't have a family to support back at home. Of course, we missed everybody back at home, but we didn't have anybody to support. But we thought about the OFWs, and we thought about the problems that they might be facing. And so we wanted to be able to find a solution to that problem.
I see. Okay. Your cousins, just so everybody knows, they're first cousins, and this is your first venture into a business together.
Yes.
What is the common denominator between the two of you?
Yeah. So actually, my background is I used to be a growth strategist at Amazon, and I have a master's in research and big data. And Tatiana's background is in psychology. And
there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's where we put our two brains together to put, Narra Health to life.
Okay, so now let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Exactly what do you offer with Narra Health? Tatiana.
Right. So our services target 3 goals: education, prevention, and intervention. At the education level, our mission is to break the stigma that surrounds mental health in our nation. And we're doing that by teaching people how to talk about their mental health in daily conversations, and how to create spaces and environments where people can feel open to talk to each other and be vulnerable about common challenges that we all experience, right? Next,
safe at that. They need to feel safe talking about it.
Yes, precisely. They need to feel comfortable. The second that I mentioned is prevention. So we are taking preemptive steps to target mental health early. So primarily we do that through group workshops and self-help tools. So we actually have a digital platform where we provide bite-sized mental health activities that our users can complete in only 3 to 7 minutes, and it helps them, understand common challenges that they go through. And finally, of course, there's the intervention. So we have around 25 Filipino licensed psychologists who our users can easily book therapy sessions with on our platform.
Very interesting. Who and how do you actually vet the psychologists in the intervention part?
Absolutely. So that is very important to us. We have a very thorough hiring process. We've learned from our research that there are other mental health companies out there that, because the demand is so high, sometimes they hire people who are not necessarily always psychologists, but our goal is to make sure that everyone has a license So the first thing we do when we put out job descriptions is, of course, to make sure that they have a minimum of 5 years of experience
Wow.
working in mental health. We conduct role play sessions with them, wherein we pretend to be the client and they pretend to be the of course, they're the psychologists in the hiring process, and that enables us to see already how they would interact with our clients, right?
Absolutely.
You know what's very interesting for me is that you're quite young, the two of you. You're 27
Yes.
and 24.
Yes.
And this is something that you're getting into at a very young age.
Yeah.
Why? Was there, I mean, growing up, amongst your peers, among your age group, is this something that really needs some sort of intervention?
Oh, absolutely. I think that I wouldn't even just say that it's within our generation. A lot of people talk about mental health within Gen Z, within millennials, but across the board. And I think that Gen Z, millennials, we're talking about it more, and so there's more awareness. But I think at the root of it, like why we got into it, was not so much about that. It was more that we've always been interested in psychology. Tatiana studied psychology. She worked as a mental health professional. And I actually always wanted to be a psychologist. And so it was just kind of like finding your way back to what you believed in and finding, you know, your purpose in this higher calling that we really believe in solving, right?
Very nice to hear. But I know I asked you that question a while ago, but what was the push that actually made this turn this into a realization?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, we were living abroad for over 10 years, and so our family actually works in shipping and manning agencies, and so we have firsthand experience with seafarers. And we grew up listening to the struggles of these seafarers, 9 months to over a year away from their family, people losing their lives on the ships. And honestly, like when we heard about it, and it was just like layman's talk over the table, that these things were happening, we were like, how can this even be a thing? Yeah. So at the end of the day, that was kind of like what pushed us over the edge and said, no, we absolutely need to do something, and we have to do it now.
Tatiana, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I think that, so when Karina was actually the one who approached me to start this business, so we kind of had ongoing casual conversations like, oh, let's put our brains together, let's start a mental health company. And growing up, I, have also personally faced like mental health struggles. But as I was reflecting, I started looking outwardly and realizing that there are so many Filipinos out there who, if I'm being truthful, probably carry heavier burdens than I do. And this was my reflection when I was maybe like high school. Wow. And so I was always interested in mental health, and I decided, okay, there's no support that is available for them, so I'm gonna make it my purpose to do so. So I went and I studied psychology at King's College London, and that was my goal, to be able to bring back what I learned to the Philippines. And when Karina approached me, she said, hey, our families in shipping, we both know how much sacrifices that the seafarers, and not just seafarers, the OFWs, endure. Why don't we start something? And it immediately clicked. I was like, wow, Karina, this is exactly what I've always wanted to do. Let's do it.
The stars aligned.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to
aligned.
talk about this more, but we need to take a very short break. We'll continue our discussion with Narra Health co-founders Karina and Tatiana Garcia. When we return, stay tuned. This is On Point. Welcome back. Still with us, Narra Health co-founders Karina and Tatiana Garcia. I didn't even ask you, why is it called Nara?
Oh, I love this question. Yeah, so I'm sure you know, Nara is the national tree of the Philippines. And a Nara is a very strong, very resilient tree with deep roots that go into the ground. And so when we think about Nara and the culture that our company embodies, it's really about, number one, being deeply Pinoy, because that's what we are. Number two, understanding truly what it means to be a Pinoy. Number three, being this resilient, strong foundation, so that as Nara, we always say that we don't believe that life is going to get easier. But with the support of Nara, we can help you become stronger.
Stronger. All right.
Absolutely.
What makes Narra Health different from other mental health companies?
Well, we believe that it is because we are a holistic and preventative platform. So we're not trying to be reactive. We're not trying to solve the extreme mental health conditions, if we're being frank, right? We're not a clinic as well. So we target mental health through different avenues. So for example, we have our digital platform where I mentioned that our users can access bite-sized mental health activities. We also have group workshops for corporate companies, wherein once a month we create workshops facilitated by our psychologists, and it allows the employees of the companies to gather together and learn about common challenges and shared goals that the company has. We also have, Karina, do you want to talk more about the other services as well?
Other features.
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually have, when we talk about like holistic, we wanted to approach health in seeing all angles, right? Like if you are not doing well at work, if you're not doing well at home, what might be causing it? And as I mentioned, I love my data. And so we really came into, we really went into Nara, like thinking about like, what can we do with this data to be able to, give insights to somebody's mental health. So actually, you can see on the screen, there's like a mood tracker, but it's not just a typical mood tracker. It actually tracks personal well-being, professional well-being, and social connections. And you can see how each of those aspects of your life impact each other, right? So that's one other thing. We also have, yeah, exactly. You can see it on the screen.
Yeah.
And you do that every day. You can see how your mood is evolving over time.
So also almost like your own diary. In a way.
Yes,
Absolutely,
yes.
absolutely. And you know what? Like a thing about Nara Fitness, and again, I'm just going to reiterate that Nara Fitness is a mind gym. So imagine like a gym for your mind. And the thing about Nara Fitness is that when people want to, of course, you have access to your psychologist, you're matched to a licensed psychologist on the app. You can speak to this psychologist at any time. But let's say you're not in the mood to speak to a psychologist. We've got feedback from our over 5,000 users already saying that speaking or playing the games on the app is almost like you're talking to someone.
Really?
Yeah, because we have our little Nara character that walks them through the activity, guides them through the activity. So it feels, as you said earlier, like warm, welcoming, easy to understand and do.
But are they allowed to connect with each other, your subscribers?
Like, so is it like a social media platform?
Well, not really. Is it an organization wherein they can actually be friends with each other?
Oh yeah, we have our support groups.
Okay.
So we have like these support groups for specific communities. So we have a seafaring support group, we have seafaring family support group, OFW support group, so on and so forth. And so they can share like-minded thoughts, our problems, and they're actually moderated by our Nara buddies, our licensed psychologists.
Tatiana, anything
Yes.
you'd like to add with the features, or is that it? We pretty much covered it.
Yeah, I think Karina highlighted
Yeah.
it perfectly.
It's a very interesting mode in a way. I think Karina said that it's almost like it's your gym.
It's like a mind gym.
Mind gym.
Yes.
It's the gym for your mind. It's
Yes.
it's because when you talk about mental health, for the longest time, it's almost like it's taboo. You know, if you say that you have a mental health issue, people can label you in
Crazy.
Yes, in words that you don't really want to hear or are very unfair.
Yeah.
It is only recently, I think, that people understand that physical health is as important as mental health.
Mental health is as important as physical health.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. It is
Yes.
one thing. So when we talk about holistic health, as I mentioned earlier, we cannot anymore be looking at them in silos. Your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health, they all come together to be one perfect package. If your mental health is not doing well, you will have chronic illnesses like The data has shown that there's an increased risk for hypertension, for diabetes, so on and so forth, and vice versa. So they all operate together, and doctors today, actually in Europe where we were living, it's common knowledge already. Like, you go to the doctor and that's something that they incorporate into the plan. So it's about time that this comes into our country.
True. You know, let's just look at the numbers that I already indicated a while ago during the start of the program. More than 1 billion, according to the WHO numbers indicate that more than 1 billion people are living with mental health disorders.
Yeah.
That's one. And then there was a recent report that actually came out from the Department of Health that they recorded nearly 1,000 calls to its mental health hotline. I understand what you're saying, and it's good that you actually put a distinction between the two. You're not the, we're going to call you, I have a problem right now. It's almost like it's an exercise of the mind,
Yes.
in a
Absolutely.
way. Disciplining the mind to be the best version of yourself. But when you hear numbers like this, does it make you feel like I am definitely on the right track and I'm happy I started this Narra Health?
Yes, I mean, even just with overseas Filipino workers, right? There's over 10 million of them. And then 77% of Filipino workers in the country, so not just the OFWs, are suffering with a mental health problem. And those are big numbers. And it's also now required by the law. So companies are actually obligated now to provide mental health support for their employees to protect them from discrimination, to protect them from harm. And so, but unfortunately, there's just no company, I believe, that is catering to the people at the bottom of the pyramid, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the OFWs, these people are the ones who actually bring in a lot of the finances for our country.
Definitely, modern day heroes.
Yes,
That's a good point. I wanted to ask you both, how do you interest them into doing this?
Yeah.
What is the come on? How do you tell them, come join us? This will be important for you, your mental health. We can help you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when we were building Nara, we've actually been formulating this for the past 2 years. And people ask, like, when was this happening? It just kind of popped out of nowhere. But in reality, we did so much on-ground work to try and understand, like, how do these people at the bottom of the pyramid, like, how are, Pinoys in general, how are we perceiving mental health, psychology, therapy, and how can we approach it in a way that feels warm and welcoming? And so when you look at the branding of Nara, that in itself is very intentional. The name, the colors, the character, the language, all of it is catered to this specific audience, which already breaks down a big barrier. Because one of the biggest things is that they're afraid. It feels scary.
Or intimidated.
Intimidated, feels scary, doesn't feel Pinoy.
Yes.
Doesn't feel warm enough, like feels like I'm entering a hospital, so I must be crazy.
Yeah.
So once you start marketing it in this other way and showing them, like, no, this is actually just like a gym and like a wellness center, we've automatically seen like people approaching and actually even walking through the door saying, I want my Nara buddy. Like, when can I talk to my
Is
Nara
that
buddy?
so?
Yeah,
Okay.
they got so excited. It's crazy. I love it.
And are you getting the people that you want to serve, the underserved? Are you getting a good number of them subscribing now?
Yes.
Absolutely. So we have over 5,000 users already, and majority of them come from the seafaring community and their families. And we aim to, of course, increase that, you know, not just in the seafarers, but across all of the underserved communities. And I think that the data that we're collecting from this community right now is allowing us to, you know, drive forward like new initiatives because we know exactly like what they need, right?
Can one just join? Can I just join if I want to? How does that work?
Well, your company has to get it for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing with the underserved, right? So one therapy session in the Philippines can cost between 2,500 pesos to over 5,000 pesos.
And it takes so long to
It's a
actually.
lot.
And it takes so long to book one. So with Narra Health, like if the employer, we start off like very low, around like $35 per user per year. And
Okay.
so you have that in bulk by the employer, they purchase it for all their people, and then their users would have access to all of our services.
Okay.
Their employees would have access to all of our services.
How are you seeing this unfold in the next maybe 1 to 3 years?
Yeah. Well, of course, our goal is to scale. You know, in order for us to be able to serve the underserved community, this bottom of the pyramid, we need to be able to be more cost efficient. And in order to do that, we must scale further. So that is our number one goal. Like we do this through our distribution partners. We partner with insurance companies, insurance brokers, organizations, even churches. We're looking into different areas where we can find these communities. And that is our primary goal right now.
How do you actually entice a company to subscribe or to enroll their employees to Nara? Because I guess let's just be honest, there might be more important or prioritizations for the employees. Maybe, I'm just saying maybe right now that mental health might be a little bit on the low priority side.
Yes.
How do you tell companies that this is very important for your employees?
Well, for one, is that it's required by the law, right? So companies do need to comply. And I think that they do want to comply. They just don't know where to find cost-effective and practical ways to do it and solutions. And another thing that I mentioned, right, about our services is education. So sometimes we do need to make an effort to educate the companies about the common struggles that their employees are experiencing in the workplace.
But if you can just share, maybe as a last question, what would be the common struggles, concerns?
Well, for our clients at the moment, it's prolonged family separation. So we serve, as Karina mentioned, around 2,000 seafarers. And when we were building Nara, we actually got to speak to the seafarers and the seafarers' wives. And one of the, I think, the most sad things that we heard from them was, for example, the wife mentioned, you know, when my husband is away, I become the father and the mother at home. And that means I'm taking care of the finances, I'm also the good guy, I'm the bad guy. And they struggle, let's say, also with communication, because when they're out at sea for 9 months at a time, there's no Wi-Fi, so the wife is unable to communicate with the husband. And then when the father comes home to their children, the children don't really know who their father is. And the father's always leaving, so when the father comes back, the child has grown and missed all their important milestones.
Absolutely. And to add to that on like a more general level, what we have seen is also the base of all of the mental health struggles, at least with our audience and the Filipino market, is relationships. You know, your relationships can be the source of so much joy, but also the source of so much pain. You know, like everything, it's rooted back. Family separation, communication skills, all of that. Even financial struggles is because you want to support your family.
True.
And so in a collectivist culture, that's really what we're trying to target, right? Like we're trying to be able to support all of our people, to be able to, you know, approach their relationships in a healthier way as well.
All right. Again, congratulations to you both, and I wish you well and more success. Thank you so much to Karina and Tatiana Garcia. Thank you both.
Thank you so much, Pinky. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
That's On Point. Join us again on Monday, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.